This is how some families are spending their 4th of July. As you take a look behind me, trees this size and bigger came crashing down last night due to a storm. Along with all the new technology featured on the new equipment, the West Center also received a new Quinax machine that combines functional and suspension training for a total body workout. With one app, you can be instantly notified of car collisions, missing persons, and can even apply for jobs. Coming up, see how the Rock Hill community is coming together to end Alzheimer's. There is one theme and one message tonight: your vote matters. Winthrop Think College is a place where peer mentors and students become a family. Marissa Drake explains how. Big first, Americans have elected more than 100 women to the U.S. House of Representatives. Bringing awareness to an illness doesn't always mean giving speeches. It means getting people involved. Marissa Drake shows us how one organization is uniting victims, survivors, and supporters in the fight against breast cancer. Kansas state lawmaker Gail Finney introduced a bill that would allow teachers to spank children, and parents are outraged. This is how some families are spending their 4th of July. As you take a look behind me, trees this size and bigger came crashing down last night due to a storm. On a day where Lake Hartwell is crowded with people enjoying this midweek holiday, Van Charleville has a mess on his hands after 10 to 12 trees were knocked over by powerful winds last night.
I was looking out the front door and I heard that bang, and I looked at the back window. I sure thought it was coming through.
His house was spared, but trees in his yard just feet from the water were snapped like twigs.
About as far as it's going.
Leon Rhodes' house didn't fare well after a massive tree crushed his garage where he keeps his boat, now a hole in the roof.
I figured what it was going to be when he said he hit it. There was nothing but big trees back here, and I thought it'd be worse than it is.
Down the street, a toppled tree damaged a car and left a hole in the roof. Neighbors say they've lived through storms before and say this one was highly destructive.
Whistling, like our house is pretty tight, but you could hear the air blowing so hard, like doors were whistling.
For most, the next step is for insurance adjusters to put a price tag on this great big mess. Hallie Brown, WYFF News 4, Oconee County. Ralph Norman, Ray Fielder, and Bruce Bryant, along with others, all made an appearance at the Republican election rally at Winthrop University. The event was hosted by the college Republicans.
We put this event on because we just wanted people to get excited, have exposure to all the candidates. You know, the election's in 12 days, so not much time left, so we just want to get out the vote and make sure our candidates win come November 6th.
There is one theme and one message tonight: your vote matters.
Every single vote counts. It's so important that people get out, voice whatever their opinion is, and participate in a process that's built on them and built on their voice.
U.S. Representative Ralph Norman wanted to remind young people of how this election affects them.
You pay Social Security, you pay Medicare. So we all should be involved. That's our democracy, and we've got to keep our democracy. To observe what's been going on is so important, and to exercise the right to vote is what makes America great.
Be sure to go out and vote November 6th, Election Day. Hallie Brown, Winthrop Close-Up. With the 2016 election, Winthrop saw a 5% increase in voter turnout from the 2012 election, and they hope to do that again with this election. But for some students, this is a task they aren't used to.
Or they are more mobile in terms of their residences. That means that sometimes it's harder for them to vote because they either have to change their voter registration each time they change their mailing address, or they have to figure out how to vote absentee.
Winthrop aided in this registration process by putting on Eagles Rise to Vote, an event where students were given voter registration forms to complete and turn in at the end of the event. Voting is a natural-born right for most citizens, but for some, that privilege had to be earned.
You know, becoming a citizen was a really big deal for me because I really wanted to be able to register to vote. And once I became a citizen, it just seemed like, you know, the most logical next step. At the end of the day, everyone has one vote, and no one can take that away from you.
Hallie Brown, Winthrop Close-Up.